the fourth dimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary Anderson and Night Dreams After Dark.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Now, John, I told you, I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, but we are on radio, so that must mean something. Anyway, we got Earl Grey here tonight telling us some, stories that he got working with MUFON. And when he was in the music and all that stuff, he is one hell of a great guest. And we also got James Christbaum out there. No, he's not eating sugar frosted flakes. I don't know what he's doing, but he's out there anyway.
Yeah, not tonight.
Oh, yeah. You know, I have been craving ever since Earl mentioned beer. I tell you, I keep thinking of the symptoms. Duff's beer. I'm thinking beer right now. And I shouldn't be thinking about beer, but I'll tell you what, the studio right now, for some reason, it's been cold. But today in our area, it hasn't been cold. I'm sitting here at a temperature at 97 degrees. I mean, I should have a spray bottle and spray myself, and I'd have a sauna going right now.
Jeez.
But Earl, here's the thing. I got all these different camps of people out there. You know, it's been interviewed for the years, and a lot lately. You got these one camps that'll come out and say, again, these aliens, these abductions, they're here trying to help people. But I always look at it, if somebody's being abducted against their own wishes, then they're not here trying to help us. I mean, Whitley has been on the show. You know, he told us a little bit about one of his abductions. That certainly wasn't friendly, where all of a sudden they went under the covers and all this stuff. I mean, it's scary. And then I've had other people say the same thing, that they were abducted, had semen taken from them, women claiming they had eggs removed from them, DNA removed. I'll tell you, if anybody that really got into, again, I'm mentioning Terry Lovelace. He was lucky. Him and his buddy were able, they let him off the craft that he was on. It scares me to think about all these people that were on that craft when it took back up, and left.
Ooh.
Well, think about, okay, do you think that humans are benevolent or malevolent or indifferent? What do you think about our own species? What if, say, let's put humans up like 500 years from now, and they can travel to other planets, and they can, they're investigating the life forms that are semi-intelligent on other planets. What would we do? I mean, we know what we do with wild animal sanctuaries. We go and tranquilize lions, and we'll put chips in them so we can track them. We keep up with them, and it's sort of all in the name of science. And I know that we think of ourselves as mainly benevolent, but our history doesn't show that. I mean, our history is pretty spotty as far as benevolence goes. You've got horrible military states, and you've got just this long history of just bad things that we have done. And so I don't know that they're any different from us. They're just more advanced than we are. Now, hopefully, I mean, one thing that people hear over and over again, I mean, there's three messages people are given when they're abducted or visited. For myself, I didn't get any message at all. But that did change. I feel like, I was being taught something after I had had my close encounter. But the things that people are told is that, war is bad. You only have one planet, and you're destroying it. You have this biodiversity and this beautiful world, and you're trashing it. And the world is going to shrug you off, eventually if you keep living like that. And people are told that there's a possibility for nuclear Armageddon up ahead if you don't stop experimenting with nuclear weapons. Those are the three things that people are told. The entities that tell them this, they come, and sometimes they just visit them. They'll usually take blood, semen, or eggs, and there are some women that are presented with hybrid children, apparently, and they're supposed to bond with them so that these children will be able to continue on in whatever kind of life that they have with our visitors. But I don't know that they're any worse than we are. I mean, humanity is a really spotty record as far as benevolence goes. So I think kind of what goes around comes around,
Well, I put it this way, and I'm not going to name the church, but one of the churches, back, and you go back around the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th century, they used to torture people. I mean, and so too bad they would put you on the rack, right? Have the barbecuer next to you and start removing body parts and cooking it and then make you eat it till you died. I mean, they would torture people in any emotional way they could. Humans, again, have been very cruel. Okay, just face it, we have been. Look at what happened in the 30s, 40s, continuing happening right now in China. You certainly don't want to get a death sentence in China because they harvest your body, organs.
Do. Yeah, they do.
So
they do.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that. So I mean, their kidneys and hearts and all that stuff, they're really humane. A lot of people get sentenced to death in China that would never even probably end up in prison in this country. And they got one thing. They get sentenced, they get marched out to the wall and shot in the head. And right there, they got the medical crew right there to start harvesting. So, I mean, we're cruel. We're a cruel race of people. Now, to think of whatever they are, 100 years, 500 years, or 1,000 or 10,000 years from us, they might look at us as nothing more, and I say this all the time, is when you get up in the morning, right, you go to your car, you're killing insects on the way, walking to your car. They might not look at us any more than that insect that you when you walk out to your car. So they don't really care, or they don't comprehend our pain that we're suffering when they are experimenting with us. They go ahead.
Yet I mean, I have some people that come forward and say that they're healed from diseases by their visitors, and I more times than not, I have one gentleman who's actually become a close friend now, who was originally my case through MUFON, who's a Homeland Security guy. We call him Andy because he can't use his actual name. He could lose his job, saying that he's an abductee. But he had a period of time where he stopped being visited for a couple of years. And he had been visited since he was 7 years old. He gave his entities names. He called one Ho. The other one was called Noisy, because he'd bring these machines into his room that were noisy. And he was a little kid, and he came up with names for them. And they kept visiting him, and he wound up like having a relationship with his entities. And in talking with him, originally I thought, well, maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome. He's trying to understand his abductors. But all these good things had happened in his life, where he'd become more spiritually attuned. He became a black belt in martial arts. And it all kind of came back to when he had first started having visits. So there was a period of time where they stopped visiting him, and there was actually distress in his voice. It was like, what happened? My entities aren't coming back. Do they don't care about me anymore? What happened? And then I get this phone call where, they're back, Earl, they came back, And he was excited, and he was happy to see them. So I don't know, I mean, it's very difficult to call it all one thing, I can't say that the phenomena is malevolent. Can't really say that it's all benevolent either. I think that they're sort of like us. But, it's like Arthur C. Clarke said, and I love the quote, that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And that's kind of what our visitors are like. They're more highly advanced than we are technologically. And so it seems like magic when they take us through the wall, or they come through the wall, or take you through the ceiling and stuff like that. And I hear these stories over and over again. But some people would love to strangle their entities if they can get their hands on them, and I hear that over and over again. And other people feel like their lives have been enhanced. It's sort of like a Shaolin Buddhist monk will slap you in the back with a stick to try to make his point, and it's painful. But, you're being taught something. And I feel like the phenomena has taught me something. Like I've been on this delineated track that they put me on. And I feel like I understand things better now. And I don't hate my entities. Now, I only had the 3 visits that I remember. The third time that my wife and I had a visit, we both woke up, and our room was filled with light. And it was the third time in the same week. You remember the last time that after my wife was pacing back and forth going, you need to tell your little friends to leave us alone. The third time we both got up, we weren't paralyzed. We went to the window. Our room was flooded with light, and it wasn't just coming through the window. It was pervading through the walls. So it's different than, I think that they use whatever that phenomenon is. It's not light as we know it. I think it makes their space our space. It sort of melds their reality with ours. And that's what's happening when people see the light flood their room or their car like in